In episode number 391 of the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, we cover more convention cancellations in the wake of the coronavirus. We also have the long-awaited release date to 3 Jokers, as well as Sony's latest go at a Spider-Man movie. All of this and so much more on today's show. Hello and welcome to the award-winning The Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. This is an incredibly special episode this week because it is a PalpaTakeover. Daniel is sick. He says, you know what, let's just skip this week. And I said, absolutely not. We must bring the people a show. All of our patrons, all of our listeners, they cannot go without. We need to be the beacon of light in these troubled times. So here I am, here to talk about all of my favorite things like fan fiction and coffee and the things that I buy from Target weekly, which is a lot of things. It's not okay, guys. It's a sickness, and I accept that. I think that's, the first step is understanding that it's not okay. But I am here to give you a show. If you're joining us for the very first time, welcome. This is not typically our format. We usually have my co-host Daniel and myself. But like I said, he's got like a throat, nose thing going on. I hear him sneezing in the background. So we're giving him time to recover. And I am here still to bring you some news, to let you know what's going on in our lives, and of course, to give you a Patreon shout out. For the first bit of news we have here for you today, the LEGO Twitter account has teased a partnership with Nintendo for future mini figures. I am stoked. I love LEGO minifigures. I have, I believe, 2 or 3 on my keychain. There's a Michelangelo, there's a Batman, there's a somebody else that I don't remember who. Absolutely love them. And if I can collect my favorite Nintendo characters in these, absolutely. I'm on board. I can't wait. I really, really hope that this leads to maybe games, right? The LEGO games are so much fun. We have movies. I would love to see Nintendo characters in the LEGO movies. I know this is so far-fetched, but give me Pokemon. Just give me LEGO, legit LEGO Pokemon. And I would buy them all. If they came out with a Peach's Castle Nintendo or LEGO set, right? All about it. If this partnership happens, which, I'm sure it's already in progress, right? If LEGO is teasing it, there is so much that they can do, so much that they can monopolize on. Nintendo fans are insane, and I am one of them. And I am so here for anything LEGO that can also be, I just want Peach's Castle. I'm not even going to lie. Maybe some Zelda something, but I don't even really know about that. So 100%, give me Peach's Castle. I will build the whole thing. Don't know where I'm going to store it. But for now, I will be happy with any of the little minifigures that we can get. Up next in our news, we have some things on the movie side. According to The Wrap, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 co-screenwriter Roberto Orci is writing a Spider-Man spin-off film for Sony. Of course, there's no release date or whether this will utilize Tom Holland. If you ask my opinion, I don't think they should utilize Tom Holland. I think they've done such an amazing job with the Venomverse, with this world that they're building. And I just don't think Tom Holland fits well in there. He is definitely not one of my favorite Spider-Men that we've seen. We joke all the time, he's Iron Man Jr., but yeah, that's essentially who he is. So I don't realistically trust that he could give us a real Spider-Man, right? The Spider-Man as the character that I've grown to know, and really one that would fit in with this Venomverse. So whether he has a contract and they're able to use him in X, Y, and Z, which I know is all out there, I definitely would want them to steer away from that. Build on this world, this kind of darker world where it's not all laughs and fart jokes and and whatever else they're doing over there in Marvel, right? And more than that, you don't really want your audience to tie Venom into what they've been doing with the Marvel Universe. There's definitely something more and something better that they can build off of if they choose to move away from Tom Holland. So That's my piece on it, right? I would rather they just do their own thing, get somebody new in here. Oh man, do Miles Morales. Stop, mind blown. That would be so good. Miles Morales would be great. That's Palp approved right there. Bring Miles Morales into this new Spider-Man. They got to. Already calling it. I called it. Daniel's not even here, but Daniel, I called it. This is what's going to happen. Moving on over to the convention side, as part of an ongoing wave of cancellations, Boston's Ace Comic-Con Northeast, the Diamond Retailer Summit, and E3 2020 will no longer take place as scheduled due to concerns over coronavirus. Ace Comic-Con plans to host another event as scheduled in October. We talked about this a little last week, right? Some things that were getting canceled. Companies as a whole are canceling any non-essential flights. So even conventions that aren't canceled at this time, it's gonna be pretty slim who's actually there. The media has hyped this up so much and made so many people afraid. And yeah, this is it spreads incredibly easy, right? And we've seen that throughout the world, how quickly people are catching this. But wash your hands, right? Take care of yourself. If you're sick, don't go out. There are definitely ways to protect yourself and make sure that you don't get it. Or if you do, you can get over it pretty quickly. But at the time of this recording, right, Walt Disney World and Universal have announced that they're closing. They've closed off flights to other countries. Cruises are shutting down. You can't find toilet paper anywhere. And one of my favorite memes right now is, why are we out of toilet paper? Because every time someone sneezes, like 20 people shit themselves. And that's kind of where they are. And I'm not trying to make light in the sense that this isn't something we should be concerned about, because to an extent we should be, but definitely look up your facts. I get why people are canceling unnecessary travel, rescheduling, all of these things, big events, because yeah, you put that many people in there, and with how fast this is spreading, that's definitely going to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if these conventions come back with a later date though, right? You're not going to want to lose all that business if you can't help it. So like with the example of Ace, who had one scheduled later, yeah, I would definitely say, okay, in March and April, we're not going to have any conventions, but we'll rebook things in June or July or August and get all those fans back in there, get that hype and make that money, because yeah, you're really not going to make any money by canceling these events. But once this all blows over, there's no reason that they can't be rescheduled. That would be a smart business move. And that's what I really hope that the direction that a lot of these conventions go in. However, an article went up on Bleeding Cool by comic shop owner Jeremy Conrad on how the coronavirus scare has affected his business. I will definitely say, yeah, it has affected businesses everywhere. Prior to Walt Disney World closing, I had a lot of friends who worked out there who said it's a ghost town. Major cities are ghost towns. My dad's talking about sporting events, right? And for example, the Masters, which he follows closely, they're talking about hosting it, but with no patrons. So that completely sinks that town who makes their money for the year or during that week when everybody's coming to watch the sporting event and buying out hotels and renting homes from people and all these different things that are going on. So it's extremely frustrating to see the effect that this is going to have on our economy, on service workers who rely on tips, on businesses that are going to close and not be able to pay their employees. So one of the greatest things I saw is that if you're still going out to eat, tip really high this week, because those employees are terrified. One, they could get sick by going into work, right? But two, they're potentially out of money for several weeks, because if you're a server, you rely on tips, and now, hey, maybe you're not going to get those. So that is my PSA. It's definitely affecting small businesses especially. So just keep that in mind when you're going out, when you're doing your shopping. Maybe there's something you can get from a smaller store, or if you go out to eat, yeah, maybe you can tip a little bit more right now and help those people get over this hump of what we're going into. But most importantly, wash your hands, please. Everyone, just wash your hands. That's my Palpa PSA. We did get some news on the comic book side, though. Batman White Knight writer/artist Sean Murphy had to recently pull his cover for Doug Tindapal's Indiegogo comic. After Doug's past anti-LGBTQ remarks were brought to Sean's attention, he tweeted, quote, I recently did a cover for a creator, but it's been brought to my attention that the creator has posted opinions that are anti-LGBTQ. I've spoken with that creator and the cover will now be pulled from the project. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a big supporter of the LGBTQ community. From the hard workers at my publisher to my fellow creators to the people in my own family. I'm sorry if I hurt or upset anyone. I've always wanted my work to be about inclusion and about people working together, end quote. My personal opinion is that's a really great stance to have. I think too easily people will sweep things under the rug that have been tweeted, that have been said prior, because they're going to benefit from them in some way. So in his example, right, maybe he lost money on doing this cover. I would imagine that he said, I don't want you to do that. Like, you can just give my money back, right? Or I'll give the money back. So yeah, potentially he lost money on that, but it wasn't what was in line with what he stood up for. And I have some immense respect for that, to say, look, this isn't what I support. What you said, whether it was in the past or not, is not something that I support. And I just don't want to be associated with that. And that takes a lot of guts. And I am extremely impressed that he had the integrity to go and do that and really say, you know, it's not worth what I lose out of this because I'm standing up for something that I'm extremely passionate about. He did get a response from Doug, though, who tweeted, quote, the LGBTQ put pressure on DC and SGM for doing a cover on Bigfoot Bill 2. Sean and I agree that he should pull the cover. It's more important than ever that pro-family comic lovers support my work and rethink DC for attacking my business over my beliefs, end quote. I get his point that he feels that they shouldn't have attacked him for his beliefs, but at the same time, I don't agree with his beliefs, and that's not the right stance to take, and I get that. I know that I shouldn't be like, well, I don't agree with you, so you're wrong. Again, I support DC for being like, no, you shouldn't do that. And again, Sean for really saying, no, I don't support this. And it doesn't really sound like Doug is all too apologetic for, you know, these are my beliefs. I don't agree with these people and I'm going to make these remarks, right? And that's to each his own, right? Whether I agree with it or not, to each his own. I am a huge supporter of inclusion, because everyone's story is different. Everybody's going through something different. And who am I to judge you for your experience? Unless your experience involves like murdering people, then let's talk, or let's not talk, because I'm not about that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think Sean did the right thing. He did what was right for himself. And that's all that you can really ask of anybody. Still with the comic book news, Jeff Johns and Jason Fabok's long-awaited Batman 3 Jokers finally has a release date of June 17th. This 3-issue miniseries spins out of 2016's Darkseid War arc of Justice League. DC's description is, quote, in this powerful emotional story, Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood, all past victims of the Joker, work together to solve a mystery unlike anything they've ever faced before, end quote. That sounds so badass to me. Like, anything with Batman is badass, right? Really cool. Definitely a different spin, right? And since they kind of hinted at this, released about this idea of the 3 Jokers, my mind is just like, no, that doesn't work. I don't understand. So I am incredibly interested to see where they take this, how they kind of tie all those together. Is it really 3 different Jokers, right? Or are we talking one person with 3 different personalities, which would very much be something that you could take away from the Joker? Or are you talking... Man, I don't even know. There's too many options, too many things. I'm not a writer, and that's probably great for everyone, because I would just, like, it'd be the 3 Jokers, but there would be 3 Harleys, and they would all fall in love with each other and live in, like, a little commune. It would be so great. I want to write this now. It's going to be fantastic. But definitely such an interesting concept. Of course, you know that we're going to check it out when it releases. We'll review it right here on the show if chosen by the Brokettes for us to review that issue. So stay tuned, right? Check it out if this is something that interests you. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you really think it's 3 Jokers or not? At PalpaKelli, let me know what you think. I feel like a little radio host right now. You guys can't see my view, but I'm just staring at this, this microphone just all alone in this little studio. And I feel like, welcome back. I'm going to play some tunes. Here's some Britney Spears from the 90s. I wish I could let you listen to my playlist, which, it's all early 2000s. You got a lot of Maroon 5 on there. I do have some Britney Spears, some NSYNC. But it was a great time. It was a great time to be alive. It was just like so chill. You just like got off school, went and played some Pokemon, listened to the soundtrack from the Digimon movie, right? And just hung out with your friends, sat by the pool, like did whatever you wanted. You could go out and play outside with like nobody paying attention because, again, it was the early 2000s. Who was snatching kids? I'm sure lots of people. But it was still, it was so chill. I miss those days. It was great. Drinking your Capri Sun. Are those still around? Anybody still drink Capri Sun? That was some great stuff. Hot Pockets. Oh man, I ate so many Hot Pockets. Chef Boyardee. I wish. I turned 25 and it was all downhill from there, so. But that does wrap up our news. A little bit of a lighter news week. I'm sure we will definitely hear more as the week goes on, right? By the time we get to next week of what other cancellations are going on, what else is going on outside in the world. It's a wild time, guys, but I'm happy that we could still be here for all of you, that I could show up and tell you about my favorite things. Okay, here we go. My favorite things, right? Just Palpa's favorite things. We should have a segment all the time called Palpa's favorite things. My favorite coffee right now. I love Komodo from Starbucks. If you guys haven't had it, it's a dark roast, but it's real earthy. It's delicious. It's from Asia South Pacific, which is one of my favorite places to get coffee. I also like South American coffee, but Asia South Pacific is pretty fire. Really, really great coffee. What would I pair it with? I don't even know because I drink it with everything, but it's really great. My favorite way to brew it is either a pour over or in a Chemex, which is just like a fancy name for a pour over, which is really great. My favorite tea right now, I'm really big on turmeric ginger tea. I've been drinking a lot of that. It's great. It's kind of helped with my inflammation that's going on because I have an inflammatory reaction to coffee. So after I drink my Komodo from Starbucks, I have to drink my turmeric ginger tea. Delicious. Throw some honeys in there. If you haven't tried turmeric tea, it's really, really good. A lot of health benefits. I just drink like 1 cup a day. It's caffeine free. Fantastic. What other favorite things? Ooh, favorite fan fiction. Listen, I found some great Vegeta Bulma fan fiction ones. Feel like I could talk about them all day. I feel like I do talk about them all day. Every time we get on the show, I got to mention those two, but they are pretty great. Also, Katara and Zuko, I feel like I also talk about them a lot. But there's some really great fan fictions out there for them too. My only problem with fan fictions, and I haven't read them in a while, I need to dive back into it, is the writers just stopped writing. And now here we are like a year later, and I'm still waiting for them to update. And I never know how the story finishes. And it breaks my heart. I also read some great Robin and Starfire. I forgot about those. Those are pretty fire. I really tried to look up Batman Catwoman once, and I'm not even gonna lie, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. People were just like writing out their own comic book, but they did it in kind of like script style, which I get is probably how you write comic books, but it just wasn't doing it for me. I was like, no, not about this. So yeah, that's it. That's my fanfics. What other favorite things? I started using a Cricut a lot. If you guys have never used a Cricut, and I think I talked about it on the show before, but you take vinyl, right? And you can cut out anything that you want. And so I've pretty much Cricketed my whole house. And it drives Daniel crazy because I just like make stuff all the time. But I made myself a pop socket, which is really cool. I made myself a decal for my computer case. I made Daniel a decal for his cup, which was, he got like a Yeti. And I put the podcast logo on there. It was pretty fire. So yeah, those are Palpa's favorite things of the week. But with that, I can move into our Patreon shoutouts. These are shoutouts to everyone who helps make the show possible. First one goes out to Joe's on Instagram at Kingdom T-shirt. He has been putting together rainbow mermaid life decals, which sounds so much fun. Here in Florida, I would love to live that mermaid life, sitting on the beach, relaxing, just swimming around, doing my mermaid things, leading sailors to their death because they were probably out like shark fin hunting or something. I would 100% be like the social justice mermaid. Like, oh, they're out fishing. Let me help them crash into these rocks. It would be horrible, but that would be the mermaid life that I would want to lead. We also have a shout out to at Innsmouth Tide, who said, quote, I like Tom King. Vision was spectacular. Sheriff and Omega Men were really strong. I liked a lot of his Batman run, but Mr. Miracle didn't do a lot for me. I have no connection to / love of Adam Strange. Still worth checking out? End quote. This is a tough one. I did get so many vibes of Mr. Miracle from Adam Strange. So much. But I don't know how much of that I could say is, okay, this is just the first issue, so they're trying to make us see that way, and is Tom King going to slip back into what he does? I definitely don't think this is quite as intense as Mr. Miracle was, while it did have that same vibe, right? There was a little more lightness because of who the character is, and still a lot of mystery because I know zero things about Adam Strange at this point. I would say I could probably definitely give you an answer after I read the second issue. But at this time, yeah, I don't know that I would say that you're really going to like this if Mr. Miracle didn't do it for you. Because there was still so much of that vibe, so much of that same feeling that we had from that series, just with Tom King. But again, like I said, maybe by the second issue, now he's falling back into his typical patterns, usually what he does, lighten it up a little bit from where it is. So we'll definitely see. Ask me after the second issue. Our next shout out goes out to Elizabeth at EP Lifts. She met Scott Snyder and Joe Hill, to name a few, while sporting her The Reasons I'm Broke shirt at C2E2. And the pictures are so cool from what we've seen. So excited that you had this great experience. And thank you for sporting our shirt, getting the word out there. Here we are, The Reasons I'm Broke. And our final shout out goes out to Joshua T on Instagram at JD Toss. He said, quote, World, this is Benjamin. Baby Batman, this is the world. 7 pounds, 8 ounces, end quote. I can only assume that that is an introduction to a little baby boy, and I cannot be more excited. It's a wonderful gift. 7 pounds, 8 ounces sounds like an amazing, healthy little one. Just enjoy every moment, right? Thank you for the introduction to that little one, but enjoy, steal all the cuddles that you can, because you blink and then they're 2 and they're sneezing all over you with their cold too. So congratulations. Thank you again to Joshua T, Elizabeth, Innsmouth Tide, and Jose for your Patreon support. If you too would like to be a Patreon backer for as little as $1 a month, it's only 25 cents an episode. You too can get your shout out every single month. But of course, the best thing you can do is let your friends know about us. Our podcast will always be free. I will always love to get up here and talk to you about my favorite things and let you listen to just me for 30 minutes or however long I talk today. I could go down a rabbit trail. We don't even know. Maybe I still will. But just getting the word out there, getting more brokeheads to join our core, we will only be stronger. But in addition to supporting us these different ways, you can also join our Discord lounge. Daniel's on there pretty regularly. I'm on there occasionally, but it's just brokettes who come together, talk about different things, share memes. I'm cracking up all the time at the things that are posted, but it's a great community where we can all get together and just talk a little bit more. But now that we have completed all the news, I have talked about all of our Patreon shoutouts, we will go into our Brocat block. We do have a Brocat question in there, but it's also what's going on with the Palpa this week. Our Brocat question comes from Bobby at Cuban Slim, who asked, we all know Bruce is our favorite Batman. Who would you like to see don the cowl not named Bruce. He asked the same question to me, only not named Bruce or Selena. I wouldn't want to see Selena in the cowl. She's great as Catwoman, so you don't even need to throw her in there. Who would I want to see as Alfred? 100%. Alfred should be the next Batman. But that's not really an answer because he's got to go retire to Cambodia soon. Bobby did go on to continue that his favorite is Dick Grayson. He did a fantastic job in Battle for the Cowl. I did like Dick as Batman. He did a good job. I kind of like Damian as Batman too, right? Yeah, he was like a little more ruthless and killing people because that's how he was raised. But I think that's a pretty neat concept of, all of Batman's sons understand a Batman has to be there. This city, this world is not going to survive without a Batman. I have like the times that Superman put on the cowl. I believe we saw it in one of the animated shows, and that was pretty amazing to see. Oh, who would I want to see? This is so difficult because, yeah, there's so many characters who have done it, who have stepped in and did a pretty great job. I'm really leaning into Alfred right now because I just feel like he'd be so great and like so proper and like, you should stop that. And they would just have to stop because it's Batman and Alfred telling them to do that. I would realistically, rather than have Robin do it, I think I would almost feel better if they just created a new character, right? And as long as he was as badass as Batman, I think I would be on board with it. But I don't know that I have anybody that I feel real strongly should take the place of Bruce because he's just so great. There's, in all the different people that we've seen put on the cowl, there's nobody who's done as great of a job as him. And I love that they solved the problem by being like, well, he's just going to clone himself forever so we can literally have a Batman forever. And at first I was like, that's stupid. But now I'm like, that's just the most brilliant idea, because why would you ever want to try to fit somebody into that mold when he's already so incredibly perfect for that role, for being Batman, for doing all these different things? Like, yeah, just clone him forever, whatever, it's comic books. But thank you so much for that question, Bobby. I'm still continuing your streak because you missed it 1 week, but then you had 2 questions the next week, so I just rolled it back. You're fine. Still with the streak. I don't even know how many weeks now, but thank you so much for all the questions that you do submit to the show. You too can submit a question on Twitter at ReasonsI'mBroke at PalpaKelli, and we will definitely read it here on the show and give our opinions. So also in the Brocat block, we talk about what's going on with us this week. It's a lot. Like I said, Daniel's sick, right? I don't know if you can tell my voice. I'm pretty sure I caught it too. I'm like super hyped up on Dayquil right now, so it's pretty great. I'm making it through. But Leo definitely caught it from my dad, who was patient 0, and so he's been stuffy and runny and whiny and coughy and just not a very happy baby the last few days. So, of course, that's definitely challenging, trying to take care of him. And because he doesn't understand what's going on, he's just a little baby and doesn't get that it will get better. So I'm definitely trying to take care of both of my boys. Work has finally slowed down a little bit for me, which is great because we were massively busy and just not really prepared for it. But of course, being in the food and beverage industry in the wake of, or in the midst of all this coronavirus stuff, it's constantly checking for updates and waiting for the call of, okay, now you're just a drive-through only, right? And see if we go that route, or now you're going to close entirely and I'll get a little bit of a vacation, which kind of sounds nice right now. But definitely taking it day by day, right? I am, as a company, we're doing the best that we can, sanitizing frequently, making sure nobody who's sick is working, washing our hands all the time. Definitely following the CDC's instructions closely to make sure that we're taken care of. But I have been doing a lot at home, right? Cleaning, sanitizing, making sure that everybody gets healthy. Not drinking as much coffee as I would like. I've definitely taken a backseat to all the tea that I'm drinking and trying to live a healthier lifestyle because, like, oof, that big 3-0 is on the horizon and I'm scared. I got to take care of myself. I'm not a spring chicken anymore, right? It is not early 2000s, even though I'm still listening to Maroon 5. I'm not eating Chef Boyardee. And Little Debbie's and Hot Pockets, which actually sounds really good right now. I should get some Hot Pockets. Oh, I did. Leo and I did get to share a pizza this week, and it was so exciting because he thought the entire pizza was for himself. And I have the cutest picture of him just with this big, giant ass grin looking at his whole pizza. That little sucker ate 2 slices. And I don't even know how he ate 2 slices because he's so little. I feel like he's so tiny. But yep. Ate the whole 2 slices, except for the crust. Mama had to eat the crust and loved every second of it. So it's really great just getting to experience that with him and watch how he grows. Daddy's still his favorite person, right? Not mom. Like, I'm leaving for work and he's like, yep, bye, mom. But then dad leaves and it's a whole ordeal and we have to cry and throw our body on the ground because how dare daddy leave when he should be staying home and playing with him. We did buy more cars. Oh man, I got the coolest car. So they have like all the little minis cars, right? Which are really cool. But we found some regular Matchbox size cars, but they had the amazing Lightning McQueen or the fantastic Lightning, whatever. When Lightning McQueen dresses up, it's Doc Hudson, which is like my favorite. I love it so much. It like brings real tears to my eyes every single time. But we found one and it was in a multi-pack and the multi-pack was $20 and I just had to buy it. Like Leo wanted it. I had to buy it. So now we have this car, which I'm sure we're going to lose in about 5 days, but I know that I have it somewhere in my house, deep down in my soul. So that's what's been going on with us this week. Like I said, like a lot of healing that we're working on, a lot of little things, but we're going to get better. And hopefully Daniel's going to be back with us next week and it'll be a much better show than just my rambling, than talking about my favorite coffees. I did make some cold brew this week. Listen, guys, I'm going to give you my cold brew recipe and you're going to make it and you're going to love it because I don't have time to brew coffee every morning. So I make a gallon of cold brew a week and we go through a gallon of cold brew like in 5 days, but whatever. So my cold brew, super easy. You take a whole pound of coffee ground on French press and you dump it in a reusable coffee filter bag, right? And you put in 12 cups of water and you let it sit for 20 hours and then you pull out the filter and you add 6 more cups of water and you're done. And it's delicious and it's so good. And it's Daniel's favorite. I make it like probably a little stronger than I should, but that's my recipe for cold brew and you guys should definitely go make it. But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I could keep talking, right? If you guys just wanted to hear about my favorite OTPs. We talked about Vegeta and Bulma. We talked about... I could go on forever, and I'm really not going to bore you guys. So thank you for tuning in to my PalpaTakeover. Whether you're a new listener, whether you're an old listener, to all of our brokettes, thank you so much for listening to my ramblings for about 30 minutes. You have way more patience than I do. But as always, I am your Emperor Kelli. Daniel's in the other room, but he will be back next week. And Broquette Core, all will be well. Okay, so you've got Vegeta and Bulma, you got Zuko and Katara, you have Inuyasha and Kagome, right? But then also Sesshomaru and Rin, because I feel like she would grow up and they would actually like be really great together because he's kind of like conditioned her since she was a little kid to be like, I have no emotions, but he really does. We all know that he does. And then you have Yusuke and Keiko, like, yeah, definitely them. Don't listen to all those stories about Botan and whatever. No, not about that life. You know, what other OTPs are there? There's so many great ones. Listen, if you got one, I want to hear about it. Tweet me. Tell me your OTP. Oh man, you got Ash and Misty. You have who were them from Digimon? Whatever. They were great too. Sonic and Amy, I guess? I don't know. I feel like I tried to find them once and Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask. Yeah, definitely them as well.